The Buckheads is a high-end chop house in Richmond, Virginia. I think they opened in 1994, so they've been around for a long time. Lately, maybe over the past 5 years, their wine list has tremendously grown. So they had a big need, and I know the owner for quite some time and actually been working on this project with him for quite some time. The original space was a room behind the bar area that was approximately 18 feet deep. So that's actually where it is today, an existing shelving area for liquor. And then it started to be a catch-all for everything. So, the room almost became somewhat obsolete. And since he'd always wanted a wine cellar, he wanted to know if we could do one in there. So that window right there wasn't there before. There, it's just filmed over so that during construction it didn't break. It was put in after or during the construction of the wine cellar so that, you're sitting at the bar, you'd be able to look in and see part of the wine cellar, which is kind of cool. They kind of did this one step at a time. So once we moved forward and he liked the design, all the shelves were removed, all the drywall, the door was kept. We knew from the beginning that eventually he'd get a wine cellar door and that during the process, he had to store his wine elsewhere. And he's got racks all over the restaurant. So he's got a ton of wine in there. And I think he had some in storage just all over the restaurant, in the office, and all of that. Cassick is the manufacturer of this racking, and they don't provide kit racking, so it doesn't come in 100 little pieces. And that's what I like, is it's almost like solid box construction. They come in like kitchen cabinets, if you will. So they're easier to install than kitchen cabinets because you're not hanging, the upper cabinets. You're actually stacking from the bottom up. So for example, on the back wall where you have the arrow right there, is there a parallel design. So it has vertical lighting components that are milled in at the manufacturer on the vertical end panels of both sides. So that unit would come in as one unit. So that would be the first thing in this case to install. So do you see all the square panels? Boxes is what I call them. So the display rows come individual, and they have the lighting rabbited or routed into the top part of the valance. And they're just, when you install the base cabinets all the way around, let's just say we've already installed parallel on the left, and then we start with the base cabinets all along. And then on top of that, place the display rows. Once the display row is put in, they're daisy chained, so they just snap together so that the lighting will be able to illuminate, and so they run directly to a switch. So they're milled in at the manufacturer. A lot of manufacturers don't offer that. The lighting is always an afterthought, but Cassick, it comes with the lighting included. And then the wires get daisy chained, linked together so that it completes the circuit all the way around the cellar. It really all depends on the racking. Typically, if you have horizontal racking, whether it's parallel or the acrylic elevation, or other manufacturers, what their series of horizontal label for it are. Typically, in the past, horizontal lighting was always favored. It's a little bit more contemporary now to provide vertical lighting because it helps elevate the eyes. You want to look up instead of keeping them, all in the middle of the horizontal label forwards. Typically, a display row is personal preference, but display row, you can really show off the labels and your favorite bottles with that light strip across the top. The window, actually, I think that was done before the flooring. And that's a double pane insulated glass window. And then the TS050 Wine Guardian ceiling unit is in the ceiling there, where the evaporator's in the ceiling. There's a line set that runs the condenser outside. That was one of the challenges because this space is in the middle of the building. So the line set run was a little bit further than what we would recommend. So we had to, make some considerations and insulation factors and all of that to make it work. So this is an unfinished walnut with a clear satin coat. Yeah, originally he wanted the stain, but it just wasn't in the budget. And I believe he was looking at sapele mahogany in the beginning, but that with stain and the clear coat would be too much and outside of the range of the budget. Once I showed him walnut, which most people, if it's not within the budget, then I show them the walnut. And if they love the walnut, why not put the clear finish on it for about the same price as the sapele mahogany? But, because of a restaurant setting, clear coat was chosen over the stain, just to help protect the wood. You were trying to accommodate or maximize capacity in this small room, the width especially, but, I think the racking is about 107 inches tall, and then the height of the ceiling was 116. So we couldn't really increase the height of the racks. However, we put cradles up there for these large format bottles and magnums to be able to include as an addition to the capacity. So it helped increase capacity, number one, and then help store these large format bottles that he had. Those openings are 4x4, so most 750s obviously can fit in there. Some champagne, some magnums. And then the difference with the parallel is the height between the bars is about 5 inches. So depending on the bottle, most size bottles could fit into this space. Would we be able to build a wine cellar in there? Originally, he was wanting double deep, but the room is only 3.5 feet wide. It's about 18 feet deep. So that was the challenge. And the racks that were in there, or the wooden shelving that was in there in the first place, was deeper than these. These are like 12 3/4 inch width or depth racking. The shelving that was in there, it was deeper. So it made it feel even more claustrophobic, to your point. But it worked out just fine. And instead of, storing wine all over the restaurant, and being able to have it under air is such a benefit for them.